Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Artist on Purpose podcast. I'm here with Travis Krause, and he is an amazing artist here in Greeley. And I would like for you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a Greeley native, and I've lived here for a really long time with a short break moving out to Maine. And then I lived in Denver for a couple of years, but I found out I'm not really a big city person. So now I really put a lot of my artistic and creative attention on painting images that relate to fly fishing and how people, I guess, reconnect with themselves in the outdoors.
And you are a fly fisherman, am I correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I go out, I hike, I do a lot of outdoor stuff, but I really enjoy my time spent on the water, fly fishing.
Okay. And do you have a favorite fish? Is that something you ask a fly fisherman? Is there something that's your favorite one that you try to catch?
You definitely ask that. A lot of people have specific species in mind, and for me, it's usually the one I haven't caught yet.
Oh,
So, I mean, I really love the nature that we have around here, and the trout live in amazing places, but I'm pretty adventurous, so I'll travel just to fly fish for a species I've never caught so that I have images to paint.
very nice. And are you catch and release, or is that
Primarily catch and release. I
yeah?
don't eat a lot of fish
Okay.
because we're friends.
Fish are friends.
And they need me to let them go so I get really good photographs.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And that way you can really dive down it. So with that, you are really in touch with what your subject is, right? Which is the world of fishing and nature. What is your medium? How do you produce that into art?
So lately I've been working primarily in two mediums. A lot of gouache, which is opaque watercolor basically. If acrylics and watercolors had a baby, it would be gouache. And that's very instant. So if I go out to a new landscape or new outdoor situation, I can sit down and do color studies and kind of understand my environment. But when I get in the studio, I typically use a lot of acrylics, sometimes with oil on top. And I'll paint from references, I'll use my imagination, I'll put stuff together. I don't shy away from technology, so I'll sit down with some digital programs and do some preemptive kind of sketches. I work with alcohol markers to understand my compositions. So it's really a process for me. And that's for my paintings. For commissioned artwork, I have a different process.
Okay. So what is that process for commissioned work?
So when people reach out, I have and we're both on the same page. My style fits their needs, and what they want done, I can do. I will basically build a dossier on my subject. Usually, it involves a person or two, and I interview them. I get to know them, and I extract images and symbols out of our interview, and I make sure those make their way back into the painting. But along the way, I'll do black and white sketches, so they're a part of the process. I'll say, this is how I'm thinking of combining these things. Then I'll send them some color studies and some palette options. And then I'll finish it up. And then usually I add something special with the delivery. And it really depends on each person and each commission what that special add-on looks like.
Right. So it's not like they're hiring you to they're really a part of the process. I guess I just never envisioned that from an artist standpoint. I mean, from painting standpoint, that they would be actively involved in your journey, in the journey of creating the piece. So
Yeah, I really like to get to know people and their stories and make those connections. And I think that's a big part of what I'm doing.
yeah, connections are a big part. So what got you started in art? Did you know at a young age that you were going to be an artist when you grew up?
I had no idea what I was doing until recently. So, but I do have some of my earliest memories were like being at preschool and painting with water, big buckets of water and big ugly paintbrushes, and painting on concrete, and then the concrete would absorb the water and the painting would disappear. So it was real ephemeral. And then I really loved art as a young kid, not so much in high school and junior high. And then in college, I started wheel throwing ceramics, and it was a big pain in the butt. It was a super big challenge, and I'm a pretty physical person, so I was very frustrated. and I didn't like something getting the best of me. So I stuck that out for a long time. And then that led into, well, if you make pottery, you probably should know how to paint and draw and decorate. And if you make pottery, maybe you want to know about how fabricating with other materials works. So I got into a lot of public art and a lot of sculptural things and a lot of ceramics. And then maybe 10, 15 years ago, I got invited to do some mural painting. So I learned how to paint very, very, very large scale paintings, some of the biggest in the country at the time. And that really got me excited about painting. So like, I want to say 10 years ago, I don't know if it was 10 years or not. My dad and I went on a guided fly fishing trip, and I'd never done that. And I just got to hang out with my dad, and we reconnected in a way that was really, I don't know, it was really meaningful. And so I went home and I just started painting fish, and I haven't picked up my sculpture stuff since.
Wow. So, and there, it's amazing how there's a moment like that oftentimes that you find it like lands on you. It doesn't, and it just grabs you by the bootstraps, and you have no choice but to move in that direction. And that's an amazing story. And so you don't play with clay at all anymore. No.
No, not really. Hindsight's 2020. I couldn't have predicted where I landed, but looking back, the path is extremely clear. So
Right, yeah, I know, hindsight being 2020. That's amazing. And so you have a studio in your home, and so you paint there full time. What do you? How is your day structured? How do you figure out how to get all your painting in?
well, I'm trying to establish a routine, which has been interesting because I've been a school teacher for 28 years.
Okay.
So that kind of schedule was already determined for me, but I've been part-time for a couple of years, and I'm going to wrap up my career part-time. So I'm actually still learning what my routine looks like, and I try and be disciplined, but really I just I make sure I paint every day.
Okay.
I do something artistic or draw or sketch. Sometimes it's 8 hours, sometimes it's 25 minutes. So
And is it a chore on the 25-minute time? Is it like, I have to do this today or else, or is this just part of the discipline you are instilling in your journey?
it's a mixed bag. Sometimes
Okay.
it's inspired and it takes over,
Yeah.
basically. And sometimes it's just a discipline. So I'll give my friends out there who are artists who have trouble starting sometimes a hint, maybe, if you will. If I have a day where I'm hesitant to get started, I actually just put on my painting clothes and I'll force myself to sit in my studio until I start painting. And usually on those days, I'll look up and it's been like 5 hours or something, and I'm like, oh, I guess it worked again.
I guess it worked again.
So basically, I call it putting on your costume or putting on your uniform, and that usually gets me revved up and going. I also love to grab all my plein air painting stuff and take a hike. Or I'll fish. If the fishing's bad, I paint. And then if the painting's bad, I'll fish.
So is there a favorite place around here that you go to fish and paint?
I do have a couple favorite hikes where I fish, but I'll paint anywhere. You can uncover a really beautiful composition or interesting lighting, or a moment. Because even though it's a landscape painting, it's not about a place. It's about a time. It's about the weather. It's about the time of the day or the season or the moment you saw a dog do something out there, like, sniffing the ground and having a jolly time. So I can paint pretty much anywhere. I'll
Okay.
find something that's worthwhile to capture.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So when you are doing your sketches of landscapes or fish, for that matter, how do you make notations? If you, I mean, do you go out with all of your colors, or how do you make notations of color and what goes where?
So,
Is that even a thing? So
sure.
yeah.
I've been playing with different minimalized versions of my plein air outfit. so to speak. I have a black and white set. It's just water soluble graphite with those aqua brushes
Okay, yep.
and a small watercolor pad. And that's pretty much, it's convenient. I can take it anywhere all the time, keep it with me. If I'm going to do colors, sometimes it's watercolor, but I do have a small set of gouache paints that I love to get into. And I have two different kind of easel setups. One's just a push-on box, it's a cigar box with a hinge lid that I put different hinges on, and those don't move, so I can just put my paper there and paint and face my subject matter. And the other is kind of a little bit more expensive, real specific. It could be a stand-up easel, or it could be a sit-down easel, and it's got magnets, and my my metal box sits on there, and so it's a whole setup, which sometimes it's a little bit much. I like to be pretty minimal when it's possible.
Right, right. And so when are you retiring?
There's not an official date, but I definitely have some targets in mind. I'm on the schedule to teach this coming year, so I plan on fulfilling that.
Okay,
And then probably one more year after that. We'll see how everything comes together.
okay, yeah. And is it what level of teaching? What school level are you teaching?
So I've been teaching at a high school for the same high school since 2000.
Wow.
So, but I've also taught at Ames College. I've taught adult learners that are professionals all around the globe for a program called the International Baccalaureate Program, and trained them in their art program in a class called Theory of Knowledge, which is a philosophy class. So it's high school, but I've also taught every level of human possible, from pre-K to like adult learners that are professionals.
And so how do you approach, so I guess your high schoolers, is it an art class they're coming to? Is it a specific type of class? And so they already know what to expect when they arrive, or how do you approach that?
Nobody knows what to expect when they arrive in a classroom with me.
Okay.
I think novelty helps spark curiosity. People are naturally curious, but when you're learning, you need surprises along the way. So I don't think people always know what to expect to do in certain ways in my class. We always know there will be something that they're actively engaged in.
Okay.
It's not a lot of lecture on my part, and it's some way that I hope that they can surprise themselves with how much they can figure out or how much they already know.
Right. And it is an art class, though, that they're coming to?
Currently, I just teach art classes. I used to teach a philosophy class called Theory of Knowledge,
Okay.
but that was all activities as well.
Right. So, theory of knowledge. Explain how you went about that class.
So the first thing we did in the Theory of Knowledge class is looked at how people know things. Like, do you know things through memory or through language or through sense perception or intuition or faith or reason and logic? So we kind of broke all those ways of knowing things down, and then we kind of looked at different subject matters and how they apply the ways of knowing to them. So in that class, it was specifically called areas of knowledge. So like the arts was one, the mathematics, the sciences, both social sciences and hard sciences, and they had religion as one of their topics. So we would just say, well, how did the ways we know things as principles and concepts get applied in this particular discipline?
Okay.
Oh, history was one of them as
History.
well.
Well, yeah. Which is apparently fluid these days. So, yeah, who knew? Who knew that? So I am curious, when you are teaching your art students at the high school, do you have a goal for them at the end of the class?
I hope to make sure that I don't, number one, stamp out any curiosity or creativity they already have. I think there's a danger in a situation like a school where everybody's going through the same process that the individual is not honored. So even though we're doing very similar things, I really want to give the students a lot of choice And number one, like I said, not stomp out any of their creativity or any of their individual interests and curiosity. I want them to know how to solve problems when they leave. If they choose to do it in an artistic and creative way, that's awesome. I really think the world needs a lot more creative people.
Me too.
And those people need to continue to express themselves. I run into so many people who are like, oh, I loved how I used to play guitar, build ceramics, woodwork, paint, etc. I just don't have time. And I'm like, no, you have to find time. Not even if it's not for you, you feel like it's selfish maybe, or you're taking away from something, some responsibility, but the world actually needs creative people being creative. So that's the other part of my drive, is to give people a big push in their creative directions so that they feel really comfortable going out and taking risks, not being afraid of failure, and just nurturing that part of themselves.
I think that's important because I've said those things. Oh, I don't play my guitar anymore. I don't do ceramics anymore. There's a lot. I mean, I've dabbled in every art form that's out there. Maybe not everyone, but certainly a lot of them. And I am good at some and I'm terrible at others. But I, too, for a long time said those same words. And I think persistence of just finding the next thing that floats your boat, right? Whatever that may be.
Yeah, and I want to also just mention really quickly that a lot of people think the end goal of making art should be making money as a commodity. And I don't think that that's true, even though I personally have an art business and it's very important for me to be a good example for my former students that if they wanted to, it's possible, because there's so much false information as a contradiction to that viewpoint.
Right.
But if people just want to be hobbyists and amateurs, that's great.
Yeah.
Go out and create, because it's going to add to your experience and it's going to add to the world. And that's all you're doing. A lot of people will say, oh, I'm not an artist. And I'm like, well, you're sitting right in front of me painting.
Right.
So technically, by definition, you are an artist. And, some people do it through cooking or how they run their family or how they design their home spaces. But please continue your creativity. And if you don't have a goal for it, the goal is to be creative, and that's okay.
Yeah,
So,
I agree with you.
sorry, I just had to say that.
No, I'm totally with you on that. That's the reason why I do the podcast. Is I think artists, we need to celebrate artists, and we need to encourage more of it, and realize that there are all these different levels of artists. There are beginners, there are part-timers, there are any-timers, there are people that run professional businesses, and I imagine some of my listeners might want to know, you've been doing art for X amount of times. At what point, when did you decide it was going to be a business? In addition to that, I want people to know that the transition, there's no path that is straight and narrow. It is a long, fantastic journey that we get to go on. And I think I'm with you, totally. Celebrate and just keep doing it, right? Wake up every day and do something creative.
Yeah. Yeah. This morning I woke up and I was like, I need a hat that says paint more to remind myself that to solve most of my problems in my life, I just need to paint more. Have a dilemma about something I'm not sure on. If I paint, when I get to the end of my session, I usually have an answer. Right. And art is the answer. Like so many times for me personally, doing art is the correct answer, and it solves a lot. I've been teaching at the Greeley Creative Arts Center and have adult learners, and I'm going to tell you, adult learners have made so much progress so fast. It boggles my mind how quickly people can improve when they give themselves just a concentrated amount of time to do it.
Right.
And they all look up and they're like, oh, time already passed. The whole class is over. This is so different than my day job. And there's something, I don't know, there's something, a kernel of truth and inspiration. And I don't want to use the word hope exactly, but there's something in there that people desire a lot and they need to access.
Yeah, it's peace. It's stepping out of your day-to-day, everyday world. I do that with art as well. When I'm in the zone, there's nothing else going on in the world. It's just what's happening. And my brain also does the same thing. It works through all of those issues that might be going on that I have to find a solution to, but I don't know the answer to. And I agree. That's how it is. And I love teaching classes. I mean, I teach here as well at the GCAC, and the joy that people receive to get out of their own life for a 2 or 3 hour period of time to just exist and create is probably the greatest gift in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad you're one of those people because I know they're learning some cool stuff. So do you have a content that you're primarily teaching them? Or you just
Well,
let them come up with what they want to paint?
So, no, I did a watercolor class and then a gouache class and then just recently a plein air class.
Okay.
So the subjects in the watercolor class were kind of predetermined because it went with some concepts that would help people accelerate their watercolor skills pretty quickly.
Okay.
Same thing in the gouache class. It gives a familiar base, I think, for people to move forward quickly.
Yeah.
But after that, it also builds a set of skills that you could literally paint anything you wanted.
Right. Anywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about gouache because you talk about it a lot. Dan Augustine is in love with it right now as well, from what I understand. He talks about it a lot. And you said it's a mix of an opaque medium and watercolor, is that correct?
So I'm not going to get super technical, but I did some research, and the particle size of the pigments is bigger in gouache, and they also put opacifiers in gouache. And then if you get a really high quality gouache, when it dries, it's all the same even amount of shininess. So it's also super opaque, yet at the same time, that opaque layer, if you do it right with your mixtures, will melt into the bottom layer. So you can paint from dark to light, you can paint from light to dark, you can blend things, you can get really smooth gradients, or you can keep it real choppy with bold, vibrant, harsh brush strokes. So it's very, very versatile. And
Okay.
I feel like it's super forgiving for people, and then the results are usually pretty pleasing. Whereas people start in watercolor, and I would never recommend that. I think watercolor has certain challenges, and you have to think backwards about some
You
things.
do, yeah.
And so if people haven't done anything, it can be a little overwhelming. Obviously, it's a great media once you get used to it, but I think gouache just skips right over some of those hurdles.
Right. Yeah. I play with watercolor as well, and I do understand the backward thinking on that. But it's the only painting I really do. I'm not. I mean, I'm a face painter, which is from dark to light, whereas watercolor is the opposite. But being able to change my brain over, I don't seem to have the problem. But gouache for some reason I've heard about it, but I've stayed away from it, and it's just the committee up in the brain going, it's a bad thing, don't do it. So, but I'm now curious.
Well, I'd give anybody like 3 simple tips, or maybe 2. I don't know. I'm not good at numbers. But if you start with gouache, your darks dry lighter and your lights dry darker. So you have to expand your value sets and exaggerate them a little bit so that they dry down to what you were looking for. That's probably the number one thing. The other thing is just get really used to how thick you want to mix your paints and just play. So the more people play with their gouache, the better they get, the faster they get better.
Right.
And so I think it's a super forgiving, versatile media.
It's wonderful.
And,
Right.
and fast. It's very immediate. You know within minutes when it's dry or half an hour what you got.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll explore that a little bit more.
Yeah.
So tell me, at what point did you turn your art into a business, and what was your process of doing that?
Well, it's a loaded question for me, maybe. Dick Luster was my ceramics instructor at UNC, the local college here. And right away, he tapped me to sell supplies and to help run the ceramics pottery studio sales that the students did. So I was already processing how do you make this happen. I did a jewelry show with my jewelry instructor, and we sold work. And I asked her a lot of questions like, how do you do this? And then ceramics, I showed my ceramics and sold my ceramics a lot. I mean, when I went out to paint murals, I was being trained to be a muralist, but I got paid. And so at some point in there, I was like, I saw a little path to to get people what they needed with art and be of service, and provide a high quality product, and at the same time to get paid. And then once I understood that I was painting a lot of fly fishing stuff, there's a lot of ways to expand those paths with revenue. So I've done a lot of apparel for fishing, and my designs are on hats and hoodies and actually even shoes, leggings. And so those things are maybe, somebody can't afford a really expensive piece of artwork to hang on their wall. They don't have a wall space for something that's really big, but they love my artwork. They can go out and buy a hoodie and have a piece of it with them.
Right, just on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have all that on your website?
No.
No. Oh, no.
My website's always behind. I have it, and then when I sell out, or I'll close everything off my website because I'll go do like a trade show, and I don't want to run out of merch for either group.
Right.
So I actually hate holding inventory. For those of you listening that are artists considering doing something, print on demand's one way to get around that, where people order stuff and then it shows up, and that's something I'm going to keep investigating. I haven't gotten there because I've been too busy doing custom artworks for people.
Right. Well, definitely let me know in the future, and I'll put it up on all of our connections.
Okay.
So anybody who is curious about that can find out more. Yeah, that's amazing. So I scoped you out before our interview, and I've known about you for a lot of years, but we just have always traveled in the same circles, but never in the exact same circle at the same time.
Right.
And so I was just always curious because I keep hearing about this Travis Krause guy. He's such a great, down-to-earth, natural artist and painter. And so I'm so excited to be here with you today and talking about it because you epitomize a lot of what I have seen artists wanting to be, right? I'm going to just do this and I'm going to figure out a way to make money and monetize it and just do this for as long as I can. Do you have a future do you have a vision for your future on what do you want to be when you grow up at this point? Or
Well, first of all, I'm probably not going to grow up if I haven't done it by now.
Here, yeah.
So, but I do have some directions and some milestones that I'm looking to achieve. I do have a business coach. I've had a business coach on and off for years because I don't think some of the ways that artists think about the world meshes well with business until you purposefully make those connections. You have to make some decisions too, and you have to be very clear on some of your boundaries, which actually helps me create art too.
Okay.
So I do have goals. I do have directions. I do have plans. I don't publicly share those a lot because I don't want to muddy my own waters on those.
Right.
But if you follow anything in the fly fishing world, and if you're interested in art, you're going to see my name in a lot of places.
And give us one example of where we would find your art.
Well, I do one of the biggest industry shows down in Denver every year, but I've done some in other states, but I'm going to be expanding.
Okay.
In different ways. You'll see my artwork in certain fishing lodges around the world. So I'm going to keep expanding that, and I'm just going to keep growing my skills and my ability to help people so that it just pushes it out further and further, and I can reach more and more people.
And you'll continue teaching locally and nationally?
I'm going to wrap up my professional career soon, but in the next couple of years. But I really love teaching. It's still a very good creative outlet, but I do feel a pull sometimes where my creative painting energy gets taken away by my teaching creative energy, and so there's a little tug of war sometimes. But I do every once in a while, stepping back and hanging out with other creatives is beyond rewarding. So
Yeah.
I will probably offer some special opportunities for that to happen
Okay.
occasionally. I don't think it's going to be my main focus, though. I'm gonna let the painting venture take off and grow with the same enthusiasm I put into teaching for 28 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how do people find you for commissioned work?
All my commissioned work, you have to talk to me directly. We have to sit down, we have to converse, we have to get to know each other through some sort of interview. So I've done that over the phone, I've done it in person, I've done it via Zoom calls. Anything is fine, but you can reach out to my email, which is really easy because it's Travis at traviskrausestudios.com. You can call me on my phone, which is listed on my website, which is traviskrausestudios.com, or my Instagram is Travis Krause Studios. So those are easy ways to find me. But I definitely have to get to know somebody if I'm going to do a commission for them. So
Yeah.
there's a process of us making sure we're a good fit.
Yeah, and you bring them along on the journey. So I can definitely see how they would. So who is your client? I mean, who is that person?
So I think I have two clients really. The guys and gals that love fly fishing and angling, that they have this moment on the water, and it reconnects them with who they are, which on the surface it looks like I'm painting about the outdoors and about going fishing, but what I'm really painting about is people reconnecting with their inner strength, which is why I have to have that interview. So it's those people, the people who go outdoors and they get in the water, they stand in the water, the dust of daily life goes downstream, and they're left with themselves and their world, right?
Right.
And their strength can regenerate. The other people I paint for are the people that love those people. So plenty of gifts. People will say, hey, I got this birthday coming up, Father's Day coming up, Christmas is coming up. We want to commemorate this special accomplishment of somebody. So I've done lots of those paintings as well.
And how many commission pieces do you have going generally at any given time?
I try and keep it down to like 3. And I'm my painting process is actually pretty time consuming. I'm kind of slow, so right now I'm about 3 months out on being able to accept new commissions,
Okay.
unless it's something I can sneak in there. So it's actually valuable for me to have multiple things happening at once, because as something dries, I just jump to the next painting. Then as that dries, I jump to the next painting. So I almost always work in some sort of series, even if you can't see the
Right.
theme.
So that brings me to another question. If you can jump from one painting to another, do you have in each, I mean, just studio setup, do you have all of the like ideas that you're planning to put into it? Do you already have a sketch? How do you know? I mean, curiosity killed the cat, right? How do you know if this one's drying, so now I'm going to jump over to here and I'm going to get into the mindset of this person? What is that? What does that look like?
So I'm glad you asked, because sometimes I don't think about my own process very much, but it's very much like I've spent years dealing with teaching, and it's plan, over plan, and then really ultimately you just improvise anyway. But all that planning prepares you to improvise really well. So I'll start with a plan. I have really concrete ideas. But then as I work, usually the process makes suggestions to me, and I need to just remain open to those. And I do other things too. Like if I get really stuck, I go for a walk, or I jump to the next painting, or I close my eyes and listen to really specific music or meditate. And everybody's process is going to be totally different.
Oh, yeah.
There are people that are stubborn and they're just they're gonna put their head down and they're gonna get through it. And I am not that way most of the time. I can, but usually at some point when everything is right, I get swept away. I'm just like the body doing the work, and everything is done for me by some a painter standing outside of myself, I guess.
That's a beautiful analogy of thinking about that. It's really, that becomes a gift, right? I mean, that's the gift to the world that you have to offer is that ability to produce that's amazing piece of art.
Yeah, it boils down to the same thing for everybody. I'm just willing to stand in front of my easel. If you're a musician, you're willing to get the calluses on your guitar fingers, and it's just putting in the time.
Yeah, time and dedication, and persistence beats resistance, right? Just keep pursuing it, and it'll eventually be what it wants to be. Yeah, and not everybody wants to become a full-fledged business artist. They just want to do it, and I agree with you. They should just do it, right? They should just go do art, take classes, go enjoy the world of art, because there's so many opportunities out there to learn
Oh,
from
absolutely.
people. Yeah, wonderful. So any last final parting things you want to tell the artist community on what you've had some amazing jewel pieces here today on saying things, but I just
Couple of yeah, the world of education has given me amazing opportunities to travel and see the world and absorb cultures and eat great food.
eat great food. Eat food, yeah.
Meet awesome people, and now my art world is starting to do that as well. I've been called to places and I'm like, how am I going to get there? And then somebody reaches out and says, hey, can you jump on a plane and come fish with us and check this space out? And it's a dream that I've had for a long time that I'm starting to wake up to. And if people are that dedicated, they can do it too. I mean, I'm nobody special. I mean, we're all special, but I'm
Right.
not. I'm not doing. I don't have more value than another person in that way. We're all extraordinary, and if you want to do something, just keep putting your attention on that thing, and it will come around. And keep doing the work, like putting mileage on your brushes or whatever it is that you do. You can get there if you make that choice. If you set yourself up, you can get there.
Yeah. And do it regardless, right? I mean, you don't have to be a full-time artist. That's the only thing that brings your income in. I mean, what a beautiful gift if that is the way you can do it. But we all have lives. We have to pay the bills I mean, that's the way the world works, right? So
Sure.
whatever it takes to keep doing it.
Well, and I've had to trick myself in certain ways. Part of the reason my studio is located in my house where it's at is I have to walk by it all the time.
Yeah.
If there's an unfinished piece of artwork sitting there, it's tapping me on the shoulder and reminding me.
Yeah.
I try and keep my plein air painting stuff pretty minimal because then it's easy for me to grab.
Right.
If it's easy for me to grab, I'm lazy like everybody else. I don't want to take a bunch of extra stuff. I just want to make it easy. So also set stuff, like I would say, if you're a really creative person, take a small chunk of your world, physical world, and isolate it so you can just do the art thing there. But it could be a desk, it could be a clipboard, it could be your guitar chair and your guitar stand or whatever. But just make it so it's super convenient.
Yeah. Make it easy to do
Yeah.
the thing that makes you happy, and go find that little piece of joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn off the news.
Turn off the news. Oh, that is so true. Turn off the news. We don't need it. We don't need it. I do tell people that all the time. Don't listen to the news. So, well, this has been wonderful. Thank you for taking the time. I know I've tried to get you in here for a while, so I
Well,
appreciate it.
Thanks for sitting down with me. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's great, and I look forward to taking a class from you in the future. So here at the GCAC.
Awesome.
So that'll
Looking
be
forward
great.
to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Travis.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.